he did say to me that he would want a life sentence for Alutha Pasile, given that his family will still be able to go and visit him in prison, whereas the Mtebeni family will never ever see their daughter Nosicelo ever again. But I'm just going to take this opportunity. I'm not sure if you can see behind me. Alutha Pasile is still sitting in the dock. He's waiting to be taken down to the cells. I'm just going to see if I can speak to him and ask him how he feels about his sentence. Alutha?
Saying that what the state was trying to portray as premeditated was actually a
Alutha, do you have anything to say?
to show that in that instant, Alutha was triggered, hence what happened.
Dan, clearly Alutha Pasile is not wanting to say anything to us, and he is within his rights not to speak to us. But I'm now joined by the NPA representative here in the Eastern Cape. Annalisa, you sat here, you listened to the evidence. Are you happy with how things went?
Well, we pushed for a life sentence. We must remember that the minimum discretionary sentence is 15 years. And we pushed for a life sentence. The 25 years is a good sentence. Also 10 years for attempting to defeat the ends of justice. So it's above the minimum discretionary sentence. Nothing will ever bring back the deceased. The father did say that he will never see her again. But of course, we hope that it will bring some comfort that the Pasile is now going to serve a lengthy term in prison. And we believe that it will send out a strong message that once again our courts do not tolerate violence against women and children. And we would also like to congratulate the investigating team for this case. The judge did say that they did a sterling job in collecting the evidence, and also the prosecutor who put forward a compelling argument in terms of the sentencing when she requested for the sentence of life imprisonment.
What about a chance of parole? Because when I spoke to Ms. Mtebeni earlier, he was saying he's hoping that Alutha would not be granted parole at any stage.
Well, that's a matter that is entirely up to the Department of Correctional Services. We cannot really comment on that. But in terms of the lengthy sentence, it's above the minimum discretionary sentence. Of course, we worked very hard and pushed for a lengthy sentence on our part.
Annalisa, thank you so much for your time. And Dan, throughout the court proceedings and listening to the judge when she was summing up all the evidence that she heard today, she did make the point that the courts should not abdicate their responsibility in ensuring the public and especially women and children that they do have rights and that they will be protected. And the way to do this is to impose harsher sentences on perpetrators of violence against women and children.
Yeah, I mean, an effective 25 years is quite a long time, and one would hope from what the NPA was saying there that correctional services as well would begin to change its mind or approach such sentences differently in terms of parole, Ayesha, because you ask a very important question. The family saying they hope he will not get parole, but of course that matter is always up to the parole board. But hopefully the parole board can begin as well to approach those who've been sentenced in terms of GBV offences, look at their parole applications differently. The family there, Ayesha, let's just go back to them for a short while. They were saying that they're going to meet and talk about the way forward. Very briefly, do you get a sense that they are either angry or disappointed with 25 years?
Well, as I said, Dan, when I spoke to the father on Monday, he was very clear that he wanted a life sentence. And I guess that now that the 25-year sentence has been imposed on Alutha Pasile, the family will sit and talk about, the way forward, because they also need closure. And that is exactly what the father was saying to me when I spoke to him. He says that he is still thinking about the day when he had to go to the mortuary to go and identify his daughter's body. And as he said to me, it wasn't a body to speak of. Her body was in pieces, and he says that that's an image that will stay with him for the rest of his life. And also remember that he spoke very fondly and proudly of Nosicelo. She was nearing the end of her academic career. She was going to graduate next year with an LLB degree, and just a few months short, her life was ended. And so, of course, the family members are very, very disappointed, and they are still grieving.
High Court there in East London, as we wrap that live coverage we've been giving you in the last hour of the sentencing of the so-called suitcase murderer Alutha Pasile to an effective 25 years in jail for the murder of Fort Hare law student and whose girlfriend Nosicelo Mtebeni.